Hello, everybody. Jump along here comes to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. It is Tuesday, and the markets are not looking as good as we would like. That's for sure. Definitely kind of a Debbie Downer today. Not a good day. Just a big pullback overall, and just kind of wanted to get into it here. There is one kind of bright spot, and that's probably the TBT, because I do expect that even though we're having issues with the stock market and the economy, I do expect that the Fed is going to raise rates once again. They just have to, and that's going to further hurt the economy. But the one good there kind of is one there is sort of one ETF that does well during these sort of downturns like this, and that is the TBT. And I show everybody here on TikTok this chart. Let me see if I can get my camera to see it. Hold on, let's see if I can just. Oh, it's a little bit. There we go. I think this will work. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. This this issue typically will move higher if the interest rates move higher, and that's definitely been the case. Now it's down a little bit today, but definitely something that you might want to look at. I'm not in it currently, but it's just something to keep on your radar screen, so that we can kind of do something out there. Um, it's just a kind of a brutal day all the way around. I got stopped out of a lot of stuff today. I'm down to three stocks, believe it or not. I'm in PBR, BJ's, which did actually went up today, interestingly enough, and Comstock Resources. That's all I've got. I was stopped out of. I was stopped out of my position in LNG. Fortunately, because I did buy that so deep, that I was able to make a little bit of money in that, but it was not pretty at all. At all. Basically, here's what it's looking like in the small portfolio for everyone. Um, Pretty much over 75% in cash currently. Just I think we're going to have another downward trend here in the market again. In the small portfolio, but in Petrobras and Comstock Resources, both oil stocks, both from their gas stocks. And then in my large portfolio, the only thing I have left is BJ's, which is in the individual portfolio, the only thing I have left is BJ's. So not a good situation for the market today at all. Kind of a bad day in the market. But without further ado, let's get into some of the stocks that everyone's asking about. Sam is asking about the XLE. And why the reason is oil is down today, I don't know, but I definitely think it has something to do with the fact that they are playing with the oil prices into the midterms, and that is one thing I definitely think that is true is going on. I do think that after the midterm elections in November, we're going to see the oil go up like you read about, but at least for right now, that's the truth. It just basically came down to the 10-day line, not really anything. So let's put up the chart here. Nothing really that you would really, the XLE basically it came down and basically very close to the 10-day line. Let me just take a look and kind of see the technicals here. 81 is where the 10-day line is. Currently, this is at 81, so we're basically right at the 10-day line. So I think it's going to bounce here. That's my guess. That the 10-day line, of course, is this little pink line here, and it did come down to that. I think it tested that. Still has a relative strength of 95, which is really good, the XLE. So I wouldn't dump your XLE here. What I would do is I would set a stop loss. Basically, I think it's going to come down. It could come down possibly to the 21-day line. But here's what I would do on the XLE if you're holding it right now. I would set my stop loss at about 78 because the 21-day line is at 79. So that would be my take on this if I was holding the XLE here. I don't think it's time to dump it because it's still in this upward trend, and it is definitely reversing higher. So let's take a look there. I'm going to draw a line here. This is the reversal line, it comes up here and then it pulls through there. So it's still in an upward trend. And I definitely think, you want to hold it. But what I would do is I would set my stop loss right at about 78. So let me just mark that here so you can see that. But at 78 is where I would be is where I would put my stop loss right about here, right below the 21-day line. So that's kind of where I would be putting it. So that's kind of my take on that. I definitely think that we're going to see. I don't think oil is going down because of the situation in Poland and a lot of places like that. But it's definitely volatile. So here's what I would do if I had the XLE. Put my stop loss at 78. That's kind of where I would be. RRC and CRK, boy, I feel kind of a little guilty giving you RRC. That just jumped down today. I actually sold out of my position. I had two stop losses on it. They were both triggered today. So not something that you want to have happen. I don't think this is the end for this by all means, but it was really disappointing today. It basically fell all the way to the 21-day line, and then basically the 21-day line is typically where I have my first stop loss, and then I have a stop loss below that. So that's where I always put my stop loss. That's why I got triggered today. That's why I got sold out basically at that 21-day line. And as you can see, the 21-day line is at 33. My 33.01. My stop loss was at 33, and that's where I got stopped out. So that's what I usually do when I'm looking at stocks like this. Is I'll place my stop loss right at the 21-day line or right below it, just because typically I want stocks that are trading above that. So I got stopped out of that today. So not a good situation. If you're in it and you want to stay in it, I would at least reduce my position by a half. I don't know if it's going to get support here. I really don't know because it's kind of so freaky that it fell like this, but it did, and that's the only way you can put it. I think that this might have been some shorts coming in here. Don't know exactly what the situation was, but definitely not a good situation. Now I still have I still have CRK Comstock. Do I still have CRK? Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, same thing with no. I guess I do. I still have Comstock Resources. My stop on it is at 18. My stop on Comstock is right at 18. You can see it's right at that 21-day line. That's usually where I put my stop losses. And it did pull back, but I wasn't sold out here. I still own it. Hopefully it'll strengthen here a little bit, but my stop loss is at 18, which is at the 21-day line. Currently, it's trading at 1882. So, kind of a we'll see what happens there with that. But basically, you want to put your stop loss right at about the 21-day line. That's a good place to put it. All right, somebody's interested in ChargePoint. I don't know why, because this has not been doing well. CHPT. I'm not invested in any stocks currently that are in the Nasdaq, just because they are not performing well, and you definitely see that with this chart here for ChargePoint. Basically, what's going on with ChargePoint is it's trading below that black line, which is the 200-day moving average. And it just bounced off of the 50-day line. So really not, a lot of selling going on. I just would not be in the stock. I haven't been in the stock basically in over a year. It's just, I don't think you want to be in this one. If we look at ChargePoint here, basically it's not performing well. Let's go to the checklist. The checklist for ChargePoint basically is 56%. I typically like to see at least 69%. So just not working out on this one. If I probably would be a seller for this one. Right now, the whole market is sort of in an overall decline. So not a good situation. Okay, question on good natural gas, good shocks society that got hammered. Absolutely, everyone did. Basically, that was in any oil and gas, and of course I was. That's why I always put the stop loss at the 21-day line. But Basically, I think that if you have any profits, you ought to take them now. I think we may be going lower now. Overall, I think the price of overall, I believe that the price of oil is going to go up over the long term, but right now, not so much. So you just really have to take your profits, and that's really the only thing you can do. All right, let's take a look at Occidental and ExxonMobil. OXY, of course, is Occidental. Let's take a look at that one first. That's a stock that's widely held by Warren Buffett. I don't hold this one currently, but I do like the stock, and I have been waiting kind of for an entry point on it. But it is a 99 relative strength, meaning it's very strong. This one came down and it touched the 10-day line, but still not at the 21-day line. Right now, it's not viable because, unfortunately, it is extended. It's extended over the buy point being at 66. Currently, up a little bit after hours, 72.35. I think we're going to see a bounce tomorrow on some of the oil stocks. That's my guess. We're going to definitely see a bounce because I think for some reason, and I don't exactly know why the sell-off was so severe today. No real answer on that one, but I do think we're going to see it bounce tomorrow. So I definitely think we're going to see it tomorrow. All right. Oh, that's okay. So this is the reason. Thank you very much for this. Europe is talking about capping the price of natural gas. It'll take time to enact, but you think that'll send natural gas? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think you'll send it bouncing all over the place. And I'll tell you why, because it's so dire in Europe that that I do think that there's going to be a lot of illegal. If the price is what I think it's going to be. I mean, they can cap the price, but they're going to end up not getting any gas because they won't get any gas sold to them. So because I definitely think there's going to be some other stuff out there. So tough market in general. All right, let's see if On Semi and Wolfspeed. Let's take a look at. I got stopped out of On Semi today, unfortunately. I still think it's a good stock, but it's just unfortunately right now it's just not the part of the market to be in. What happened is it came down and hit the 21-day line. Of course, as you know, that's where I usually put my stop losses right at that 21-day line. So that it knocked me out at the 21-day. Let's see if I can shift over for people watching on TikTok here. The 21-day line is this green line here, and typically if I'm in a stock that's moving up, what I'll do is I'll place my stop loss there, so if it comes down to there, I'm out. And that's just for safety reasons. You can see it pulled down a little bit lower than that. So not necessarily the greatest thing when that happens. Let's look at Wolfspeed. I think it's WOLF. This is also a semiconductor stock. They were doing so well. But, again, this one pulled back as well. This one only pulled back to the 10-day line. So this is still sort of an upward trend. But it had this gap up, and I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to get to fill the gap situation where this thing is going to come down and it's going to fill out this gap. So be careful here. I would probably be a seller here. Wait to see if it stabilizes. I definitely think this is a good company. It's just, it's in one of those things. So if we draw the reversal line here, and I'm just doing that here, you can see that reversal line. It's above the reversal line, but it's going to stabilize. We'll see if it continues to move higher. I definitely think it is likely that it will. So with On Semi, it's just one of those things. The semis were weak today. Just about everything was weak across the board. So it just wasn't semis only that were weak today. Let's see if we have any thing from TikTok. Okay, let's look at CFW. Well, I'm sorry, CFV. CFV, I think it is. There we go. Let's do that. CFV. Let's take a look. Oh, I guess it's not the right one. SWAV. SWAV. What is SWAV? Shockwave. Yeah, Shockwave's been doing good. I have to agree with you. Down today, though, down after hours. Right now, I probably would not be a buyer of Shockwave. Because Shockwave is basically extended right now. It's a little bit extended here, so I wouldn't buy it. If it pulls back to the maybe to the 21-day line, I might consider it if it bounces there, but only then. So probably would not be a buyer of Shockwave at this time, even though it is doing very well. 98 relative strength. I mean, in terms of the stock, it's it's doing it good. It's doing well. 98% on the relative on the checklist. So that is a good stock. I mean, SWAV. So if you're holding it, I wouldn't sell it, but I don't think it's an optimal place to buy it. I think you want to buy it a little bit closer to the buy point at 225.15, and currently it's quite a bit above that. So if you have it, I'd hold it. But if you don't, I wouldn't be in it. So that's my take on that. All right, finance fund. Any thoughts about the best dividend stock to buy and hold for 20 years or more? Oh gosh, well, I mean that's a long way in the future. Maybe Berkshire Hathaway, BRKB. But when the market's going down, everything's going down. Unfortunately, I mean that's just the way it is. I mean I think we're gonna have. I mean they're going to try to pump it as much as they can with Biden, with this Biden regime to win in the midterms. But very likely that we're going to see, at least for a while, we're in a downward trend, and we could see much more damage. So I really don't think that 20 years is really a good horizon. So I probably would not be. I would not recommend anything for 20 years. Maybe Berkshire be about it. Okay. Is it okay to short Tesla strike at 255? All right, let's look for Lisa. Let's look at Tesla, TSLA, of course. Oops. And see kind of where it's at. Let's see if we can put some, we can put something in there. 255. I don't know. This thing. You could do it. That would be right about here. That would be below the. Put that over to TikTok here. We're looking basically at Tesla right now and seeing if there's a way we could short this. I don't think I would short this, and the reason is there's not a head and shoulders pattern here. Typically, when you're shorting, you want to see a head and shoulders pattern before you short. So I probably would not be a short here. I mean, I know this is kind of a good, I'm going against it, but I would not be a short here because it just doesn't look like, there's not a head and shoulders pattern. That's the problem. There's not a head and shoulders pattern. So I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't short it. This one could basically bounce it's very likely this will bounce at the 50-day line. So I'd be very, very careful shorting it here, Lisa. I really would. I think it's a good idea, but but I just don't think it's a good place to short. All right, maybe it's off topic. Wondering if you have any suggestions or indicators on the S&P. Well, yes, I do. The thing about the S&P right now, let's go over and take a look at the S&P index and compare it here really quick. I'm gonna let's see if I can pull this up. All right. This is the S&P 500 index, and let's pull it up here. All right, so basically what we have here is we have a downward trend on the S&P. The S&P hit its high basically right here in December. If you can see that, let me see if I can pull that off here a little bit. It hit its all-time high in December, and then it's been in this downward trend ever since. Now we did have in mid-August, just 2 weeks ago, we had the high. Now we're retracing down. I suspect we're going to probably end up, moving below 3,800. So I suspect that tomorrow the market will go into a marketing correction. That's my guess. So the question is, can you assess any indicators on S&P spread trading? Well, the best one is to do these is to draw these lines. Now, let me show you basically the overall look. This is on the monthly chart. So if we were put a line there, you can see that it peaked out The last peak was just a tad ago, and we want to look to see where it's going to potentially go, where it's going to bottom. So what I would do is I would draw this. So I think we could have a bottom potentially as low as about 3,400 here. That's sort of my guess. That's sort of my guess. You can see that we're in this downward trending channel right here, and we came up. This was the high. We made the high again. We just made the high here. You see, so that forms the top of this downward trending channel. Now, if we look at where it's bouncing, you can see that it bounced there, there, there. So I draw a line. So about 3,400. So the question is where is it going to stop? My guess, if it's in the same trend, is we're going to get it coming basically down, potentially down to about 3,400, which is about there. So it could strengthen up, but we're in this downward trend. So right now, at least probably for the next month or two, we're going to get a big sell-off we're going to get a big sell-off. So I think we're going to hit a low in the intermediate term before the end of the year at about 3,600. That's where I'm looking. So my guess on this, and it's just a guess. I mean, it's not it's not anything more than that. But I think we are looking at 3,600 on the S&P 500 by I think October. I'm a little bearish here. But that's what I think. I think we've now had our bear rally, and I do think that we're looking at basically it going down on the S&P 500 to about 3,600 by October. I really think that's very, very likely here. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. That based on the channel analysis, that's sort of I think where we're headed on there. Unfortunately, all right. So let's take a look. Could you please recommend a natural stock for now? Is NSG good? I think it's smart that you're looking at natural gas because I still don't think that we're out of the woods on that one. I typically like Comstock CRK. Now I took a dump today, so you don't get it always right, but CRK Comstock Resources, I like that because they're heavily into the gas play. Now they did have a huge pullback today, so I would wait. I wouldn't buy this one today, but I do think what's going to happen is we're going to get it's going to come down here. I think it's going to come down here, and I think it's viable right about 18. So that would be my guess. I mean, I don't, again, it's looking, it's not as strong as I would like, but I think CRK is viable at 18, but not now. So my guess is that it's coming down to about 18 here, and I think that's a good place to buy it because I think it will bounce off the 200-day off the 21-day line. And here's the thing about that: the 21-day line. This stock, even though we had a terrible day today, has a checklist of 100%. So, and it's also in the top 99% in terms of the relative strength. So this is in the top 1% of the market. The market just really got hammered today. This stock is in the top 1% of the market, and it's in gas. So this is one I would recommend, but I wouldn't recommend buying it now until it bounces off of about 18. That's where I think it's going to bounce. That's the 21-day line. All right, good question. Thank you. What's that for last year? Who keep falling until yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I wish you weren't, but you are right. And I think it's gonna be basically we're gonna come, right up to the election, and I think October, that's gonna be when you want to start looking to buy again. Starbucks, is that right? Star. Oh, ARK. I don't know what stock that is. ARKBP. You can't tell what that is. All right, let's look at CCJ here first. And for Mr. Jeep, thank you, CCJ. See what's going on. That's Camco. Of course, this is uranium. This is the uranium place. This is probably one of the strongest uranium plays, by the way. So this one's good. I mean, I definitely think definitely like this one. The question is, can we buy it here? Let's take a look. Let's kind of analyze that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this reversal line in here. And I'm gonna put it there. So I definitely think we're moving above the reversal line. We're in this consolidation pattern, which is basically up here to here. So this has some ways to move here. It's got a blue dot on it today, which is very unusual. Let me put that over there for the TikTok people. Now the question is it viable? Well, it's got a very strong checklist. The pattern recognition on this one, we're about 9% below the pivot on the consolidation pivot. Pivot is at 32.49, and it is in an uptrend. So definitely looking good there. Can we buy it here? I think this is viable. I do. I don't own this one currently, but out of the uranium stocks, this is definitely one of the best ones. This is definitely one of the best uranium stocks out there. And I think it's viable. I think there's accumulation going on if we look at this, because I think there's accumulation. So I would say yes, CCJ is viable here. Very unusual that I've never recommended a uranium stock, but CCJ is probably the best of the best. So that's the one I'd look at. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, what is speculative stocks, and can we give you so? Okay, what is a speculative stock? Speculative stock typically is a stock that does not have earnings. Okay, basically, I think a better way to describe it is that stocks that are, I would call them really growth stocks. A growth stock is a stock that has no earnings, whereas a regular stock is going to have earnings and give dividends. So most speculative stocks are growth stocks in that they don't have earnings. So that's kind of the real thing to look at. So let's look at a stock that does not have earnings. Let's look at a speculative stock. A speculative stock would be Twitter. No, maybe not Twitter. Let's think of a speculative stock that I could give you. Actually, I want to look at Zillow because I think this is shortable. And the symbol on this one is Z. I do think they have earnings though. Let me just take a look here. Let's kind of look for a speculative stock that is potentially shortable. I think that this one is shortable, believe it or not. This is Zillow here. And let's see, I'm going to go over the weekly chart to see if it has any earnings. Okay, well, it does have earnings. It does have earnings, interestingly enough. Not a lot of earnings, but some earnings. Their sales are going down. They have a very, very high PE ratio. So I definitely think this one is shortable. So you take a look at this. Look at that, just been going all the way down, basically since June of 21. So look at that. So this one I do believe is shortable. This is Zillow. You've probably heard of this stock if you've been watching, because I think that it's very, very high likelihood that we're going to see a lot of pain in the real estate business, and I think Zillow is going to be part of that pain. This has got a relative strength of 12. So I definitely think you could short this one. Now, I wouldn't short this with puts. I would probably just borrow the stock if you can borrow it, and then short it. That's probably how I would do it. So that's kind of one that you could possibly short. And that is speculative stock. All right, let's see. We're getting to the close here. Any good entry for SQM? This is the one I was talking about yesterday. I really like this stock. This is one of the largest lithium producers in the world, and it is a Chilean company. I want to show you this. The symbol on this one is SQM, and it's coming out of this beautiful cup with handle here. Is there any entry? I do think there is an entry, and I think it's right there at the 21-day line. And I'm very interested in the stock. I have not bought it, but I'm definitely interested. They had huge earnings, as you can see. They're 400 and up 811, 71%. That's almost incomprehensible. But if we look at the, let's see if we can put it so that you can see it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the sales were up 342% last quarter. The profits were up 871%. This is printing money. Look at the cash flow. $2.80 here. We have a PE ratio, price earnings ratio of 14. The return on the equity, 22%. In this market, that is terrific. As you can see, it's been just moving up. It's got 97 relative strength. And so is there an entry point? I do believe that you can enter at the 21-day line. And that's where I'd like to kind of show you where that is. If you put in a limit order, you could buy this at 99.92. That's where I would buy it. We're 2% above that. We're 2% above the line. But I do think if it touches that line or gets close to that line, that's where you want to buy it. You could actually buy it right now. So this, I believe, is buyable. I do believe that this one is viable right now. So I would say that SQM is viable now, and I definitely think we could definitely buy it at this level. So that's definitely think that's the case. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been kind of a terrible day today. Oh, wait a minute. Here, we want to short open. Okay, let's take a look to see if this is shortable. Shorting is very difficult, and especially in this market. I think when it becomes obvious like this, it's a bad time to short. Open Door Technologies, interesting. So yeah, I agree with you here. This is similar to Zillow. Let's compare both of these stocks. Open Door Technologies, which I think is going to go out of business. I agree with you. And Zillow. So what I'm doing here is I'm comparing these stocks. This is Open Door, and then Zillow. I believe it's Z is their symbol. Yeah. So they're pretty bad, both of them. As you can see, this is Zillow. This is Open Door. Open Door is a little bit worse than Zillow. So it's probably, but there's less of a ramp. See, the only thing I don't like about this one is that, you know, shorting a $4 stock doesn't give us a lot of room there, okay, because it can bounce very easily. Whereas if we were to go over Zillow, there's still a little bit of juice. There's still a little bit of meat on the bone here. Zillow currently 33.69. Now it did bounce up here a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if I would think about possibly shorting this one if it rallies, but right now it isn't rallying. It may rally a little bit. If this rallies to about 35, that's where I would short it. Not open, but Zillow. So that's the one I would short, not open. All right. Thank you. Let's put out Lunar. Good for you, man. Good for you. I think you'll be rewarded with SQM. I really do. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking a look. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, at 5. And hopefully we'll have a better day tomorrow than we had today. Today was not the greatest day. Not the greatest day today. But if you're not already a member of the Action Trade Alerts, please, I need people. Oops. I need people to sign up. This is free, by the way. And by the way, we do also have a special Discord room, too, as well. Take a look at that. But just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and you can sign up there. And if you're watching on TikTok, you can just go to my profile, click on the link, and you'll see it and see this episode. So www.Dallas Trading Floor. I'll see it. I'll check in with you tomorrow at 5. Everybody, happy trading.